Part 103. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 1021. The secret realm of heavenly fire is in the Luo city of Luo realm. The demon king suppressed his doubts and told Zuyun the truth. Luo realm, Luo city. He thought to himself, could it be related to the Luo sect in Chuzhu in the eastern mortal realm? Li Mo's surname is Li. And all his Luo curses. Thinking of this, Zuyun decided not to use the Luo curse in the southern mortal realm as much as possible. When he was in the northern mortal realm, he didn't suffer a loss, but he was at risk of being lost there several times. Now that Xiaohe is left there are fewer people who can help him. After pondering, Zuyun said, I wonder if the Demon King can go there after I collect the fire lotus. The Demon King's eyes flickered, he hesitated for a while, and nodded. Zuyun was delighted, and then said, if you can find the 9 fire veins, I will have my own elixir to offer you. Thank you very much, fellow deist Zu. The Demon King bowed, and then said, my body is the red candle beast. If fellow deist Zu calls me the Demon King again, it will be a bit strange. Why don't you call me fellow deist Chi? Haha, good. Fellow deist Chi, I will wait here for the fire lotus to be born. Why don't you refine the golden marrow pill while you are here? I can also protect you, how about that? Zuyun thought that instead of waiting here, he might as well show his kindness to him. As long as he gets the benefits of the golden marrow pill, he will have the capital to make the other party trust him, and it will be much more convenient for this trip to the southern Fan realm. It's easy to kill one person, but he doesn't want to kill innocent people. So, very good. The Red Candle Demon King already had a guess in his heart that Zuyun was definitely not a cultivator from this world. He suddenly appeared here, perhaps from the spirit realm. That's the spirit realm. It is true that the strength of the spiritual world cultivators is limited, but if they make friends with him, they will benefit a lot. Of course, he can also think that Zuyun is extraordinary. Although he is only in the nascent soul stage at this time, the benefits of killing people and stealing treasures are far less than making friends with him. And the other party really came for the fire lotus. If he wants to kill him, it is not said whether he can kill him, at least when he fights desperately, he will definitely prevent the other party from getting the fire lotus. In this case, the other party really has no need to frame him. So, the Red Candle Demon King simply agreed, and simply sat cross-legged at the entrance of the Fire Vein Mountain, and swallowed the golden marrow pill in one gulp. The pills refined by Zuyun are of extremely high grade and excellent quality. As soon as the power of the medicine was dissolved, the Red Candle Demon King knew the benefits and disadvantages. He felt a stream of demonic power spreading from his lower abdomen to his whole body, hiding in his bones, blood, hair and skin. He couldn't help but be ecstatic. The biggest weakness of the Red Candle Beast is the body. If the body can be made stronger, the immortal path will be broad and boundless in the future. As the medicinal power gradually dissolved, he admired Zuyun even more, and he had made up his mind to take Zuyun to the heavenly fire secret realm. Not only for more golden marrow pills, but also to establish a good relationship with him. When he went to the spirit realm, he would have a certain backer. With this idea in mind, the Red Candle Demon King was completely immersed in it. Zuyun also kept his word and laid a 9-turn 9-yang formation at the entrance of the Fire Vein Valley. In addition to preventing the breath of the fire lotus from being exposed, he also had to protect the Red Candle Demon King to prevent the male and female cultivators from returning. But just as the formation was completed, the fire lotus below moved. Although the full moon had not completely risen into the sky, a completely different breath was revealed in the fire vein. Could it be related to my golden marrow pill? Zuyun had never seen the fire lotus, but he knew it very well. This was due to the fact that he had studied the 7 Daos with Yesuanhua in the past, and even on the stone shelf of his immortal cave, there was a book given to him by Yesuanhua. For example, when a spiritual medicine of extremely high grade, such as the fire lotus, is about to mature, its instinct to seek benefits and avoid harm is very strong. Zuyun had such an idea because all the medicines used in the golden marrow pill were collected from his great universe world, and then placed in the Zirang to continue to cultivate, and he would not really collect them until he used them. It may not be the golden marrow pill, it is more likely to be Zirang. Zuyun guessed so, and looked back. The Red Candle Demon King was still refining the medicinal power. It must be the medicinal power revealed by him that attracted the fire lotus. It seems that this fire lotus must be taken by me. After picking it, I will put it in it and raise it first. When the fire lotus matures, the medicinal properties and spirituality are at their best. Generally speaking, this will produce two results. One is that the lotus petals bear fruit, and finally produce lotus seeds, branch out and multiply. The other is to transform into a human with spirituality and become a rare spiritual cultivator. Spiritual cultivation is different from demon cultivation. Like the three dogs, they are essentially spiritual cultivators. They first have spirituality, and then cultivate the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. Of course, if they cultivate demonic energy directly, they are demon cultivators. Generally speaking, creatures that acquire spirituality after birth are all spiritual cultivators. The same is true for the two horses in the universe. Whether it grows branches and leaves or becomes a spiritual cultivator, it's up to it, but it must be in my immortal palace. Zuyun had a plan in mind. He must get this fire lotus. The immortal emperor can collect immortal medicine, so why can't I, Zuyun? While the fire lotus has not completely come out of the fire vein, Zuyun quickly drew a breath-retaining talisman to completely conceal his breath. Originally, he wanted to draw an invisibility talisman, but suddenly remembered that he could no longer use spiritual power after concealing his breath, so he immediately gave up the idea. He discovered the drawbacks of the talisman. If you use paper talismans, you can just crush them. It seems that I still need to draw some of these auxiliary talismans. Zuyun muttered softly, then sat cross-legged on the edge of the mountain pass, looking carefully at the bottom. Fairy Yan, do you think this is a poison pill or a good pill? Fairy Yan's name is Yuan Yan, and she is the leader of the Demon Flame sect. Because the magic skills practiced by the sect are dual cultivation magic skills with fire attributes, the female cultivators in the sect are passionate when using the skills, and because the leader's name is Yan, the other sects in the southern Fan realm secretly call it the Demon Flame sect. Yuan Yan smiled and said, that Taoist friend has handsome features, and he is not affected by my charm. He is obviously more upright than you righteous people. Such a person will definitely not use such a despicable method as poison pills. You. Being trampled and praised by Yuan Yan, Jia Chao was furious, but when he thought about not getting the fire lotus, he only got this pill that he didn't know if he could eat, he might as well. Fairy Yan, since you trust that boy so much, why don't you eat this pill and I will help you protect the law, how about it? How could Yuan Yan not understand Jia Chao's thoughts? She giggled and said, will you take advantage of me while I am refining the medicinal power? Jia Chao was furious and said, Yuan Yan, do you believe that Jia is taking advantage of you now? Yuan Yan took advantage of the situation and posed a charming pose, saying in a delicate voice, come on, I have never practiced dual cultivation with you righteous cultivators. You. Jia Chao was so angry that he couldn't speak. He always kept a distance from Yuan Yan and the Demon Flame sect. Dare not touch. Who knows if their dual cultivation method will absorb his own power. You have the heart but not the courage, hypocrite. Yuan Yan cursed with a smile, then found an open space, went straight down, and did not set any restrictions. She took out the soul-shaping pill and swallowed it in one gulp. She had completely grasped Jia Chao's mentality at this time. Without the fire lotus, he could only retreat. Even if Jia Chao wanted to attack him, he had to see if the pill was poisonous. He would take the paying pill only if he was sure it was not a poisonous pill. As Yuan Yan expected, Jia Chao cursed the other party in his heart, thinking that he really regarded himself as a guardian. Such a shameless female cultivator, I have never seen before. But there is no way. If I return to the sect and let others know that I have obtained this paying pill, whether it is true or false, I am afraid that it will be difficult to have the opportunity to refine and absorb it. It is almost the same as the Red Candle Demon King. After Yuan Yan swallowed the pill into her stomach, she was overjoyed after a while. The pure medicinal power turned into soul power, which continuously filled her purple mansion. She looked inward with concentration and saw that the soul power was growing at a speed visible to the naked eye, without any delay or discomfort. This elixir, fellow Daoist Zhu's alchemy skills are unmatched in the entire mortal world. If everyone in my demon flame sect gets this elixir, what cultivator in the world can escape our charm? As her mind went on, a smile climbed onto Yuan Yan's charming face, causing Jia Chao beside her to be stunned. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 1022. He couldn't find out what Yuan Yan's condition was at this time, but he could know that the soul-shaping pill she swallowed must be a good pill. So, the infant training pill obtained from Zuyun is not a poison pill? Thinking of this, his heart settled and he decided to take the elixir too. But his heart was not as big as Yuan Yan's, so he waved his hand to impose a restriction, and then swallowed the baby training pill. He has a unique technique that can absorb the power of the medicine faster and better than ordinary monks, so he is sure that he can completely refine the baby training pill before Yuan Yan. Which? I'll let you taste Jia's power later. After discovering that the Paying Dan was no different, Jia Chao began to refine the medicine at full speed. Driven by the technique, the medicinal power acts on the nascent soul and is absorbed by the nascent soul. Feeling that nascent soul's face was gradually becoming clearer and more mature, Jia Chao had only one thought in his mind. Find a way to get more infant training pills from Zuyun. Swallow 10 more pills. No, swallow 5 pills, 5 pills is enough. As long as he has 5, his strength will reach the pinnacle of the mortal world. If you go to the spirit world at that time, you will definitely be able to trigger the catastrophe instantly and achieve the state of becoming a god. An hour passed. Jia Chao woke up first. Seeing Yuan Yan, whose appearance remained unchanged but whose demeanor and temperament were completely different, Jia Chao found it somewhat unbelievable that he actually felt a faint feeling in his heart. No, this soul-shaping pill is also extraordinary. It actually makes this enchantress so charming that even I can't control it. Cursing secretly, Jia Chao quickly stabilized his mood. He originally wanted to control Yuan Yan when Yuan Yang was more stable and his strength increased, but because of such a delay, Yuan Yan also woke up. Jia Chao, you also took the elixir. The power of the soul was stronger, and Yuan Yan immediately discovered that the aura of Jia Chao was also completely different. Obviously he took the elixir first, but he was a step slower. Yuan Yan secretly scolded herself for being careless. Fortunately, she had taken the pill first, otherwise she would have been evenly matched and the opponent would have outdone him immediately. In the southern mortal realm, there is no coexistence between good and evil. However, at their level, self-interest is not as important as grudges. For their own benefit, they can temporarily put aside their grudges and avoid a lose-lose competition. And once there is an opportunity, you can put it to death directly, and no one will let it go. Just like before, when waiting for the birth of Fire Lotus, Jia Chao let Yuan Yan compete with the Red Candle Demon King, while he just watched from the side. However, Yuan Yan was not stupid, and he and the Red Candle Demon King did not use their full strength. You are really awesome, you can tell it at a glance. Jia Chao was also upset. If he could control Yuan Yan, he might be able to control the entire demon flame sect. Demonic flames can be used to attack the entire demonic realm in one fell swoop by practicing double cultivation of demonic skills. By then, the pattern of this mortal world will have changed. Unwise. Xianxia took the medicine. I don't want to fall behind others, so that Xianxia's strength will not increase and force Jia to practice dual cultivation. Jia Chao's strength has increased. Although the situation remains unchanged, his temperament has become much calmer. Yuan Yan chuckled and said, Sect Master Jia, Yuan only has fellow Taoist Zhu in his heart now. You old man, Yuan is afraid that you won't be able to handle it. After that, Yuan Yan ignored Jia Chao's livid expression and teleported away along the original path. Jia Chao's face turned cold, and he thought to himself that it was not good. If Yuan Yan just fawned over Zhu Yun, he would be at a disadvantage. We must hold her back and not let her succeed. They were all old rivals. Jia's supernatural guessed what Yuan Yan was thinking, so he became extremely anxious and blocked Yuan Yan in a flash. Fairy Yan, your and my strength have greatly increased. Why don't we make a good comparison so that each of us knows how much our strength has increased? Jia Kaipai said with a smile. Yuan Yan raised her eyebrows. She didn't know what Jia Chao was thinking. She smiled charmingly and said, My little lady wants to ask you to practice double cultivation. I'm afraid you can't hold it in. So now, I need to find someone stronger. The monks are dual cultivators. Could it be that Sect Master Jia is jealous when he stops me? Which, you're talking nonsense. Jia Chao was furious. Yuan Yan didn't have a sarcastic tone, but between the lines, there was no hint of looking down on him. After shouting angrily, Jia Chao stretched out his hand and used a mysterious spell to burn the boundless sea of fire towards Yuan Yan. Yuan Yan giggled and dodged while saying with a sweet smile, Master Jia is so charming, are you going to burn the little girl's clothes? If you want, the little girl can just take off these clothes. It would be a pity to burn them. Hearing this, Jia Chao's heart skipped a beat. But he suddenly realized that the spirit power of this demon girl had greatly increased, and she even added charm to her words. Soul-shaping pill. Is it so powerful? Just as he was calming down, he heard Yuan Yan sigh again. However, it's not that the little girl doesn't want to take off her clothes, it's because she's afraid that Sect Master Jia will weaken immediately. How can we practice dual cultivation in this way? Do you think so? This is no longer a charm, this is clearly a deliberate attempt to anger him. Which, since you want to practice dual cultivation so much, then this sect master will arrest you, destroy your cultivation, and tie you to the school grounds of my Jinghuo sect's Qi refining monk. The Qi refining period is the focus of this insult. A nascent soul stage, being observed during the Qi refining stage. This is absolutely impossible to happen. It doesn't kill people, but it kills people's hearts. But Yuan Yan didn't get angry but smiled instead, and then laughed and said sarcastically, Gee, is sect leader Jia not as good as the disciples in the Qi refining period of his sect? Could it be that you want to practice magic and kill yourself with a sword? Since you can't be humane now, that little lady has no time to fight with you. We'll see you later. As soon as he finished speaking, a black flame suddenly appeared all over Yuan Yan's body. After the black fire wrapped her whole body, her figure had disappeared. Escape, another escape. Damn Yuan Yan, why is the escape technique so fast? Jia Chao jumped out of the thunder, his boundless anger had nowhere to vent, he could only stretch his palms and slap the ground continuously. The sea of fire burned, and the mountains and forests turned into ashes. Thousands of miles away. Yuan Yan's face turned pale. This baby training pill is as terrifying as expected. It actually made Jia Chao stronger by at least 30%. Fortunately, not only did my soul power increase greatly, but I was also able to perform this escape technique quickly, which was beyond Jia Chao's expectation. Otherwise, I would have been seriously injured. She looked around and found that it was temporarily safe. She waved her hand and placed a ban. Then she sat down cross-legged, took out an elixir from her storage ring, and swallowed it. This is also a pill that replenishes soul power. It's a pity that compared with Zuyun's soul-shaping pill, there is a big difference between Yun Mu. Taking this pill after taking the soul-shaping pill tastes like chewing wax. At this time, Zuyun was sitting at the entrance of the Huomai mountain without squinting. Just because the fire lotus has already sprouted its head. To be precise, a lotus petal appeared. As long as the 8 petals are exposed, Zuyun can directly trap them and then collect them. He raised his head and glanced at the red candle demon king. Compared to the 2 human monks, the refining of the golden marrow pill was much slower. This is because of the different properties of the elixirs. Whether it is the infant training pill or the soul-shaping pill, wherever it acts, it will be absorbed directly. Golden marrow pill will not only be absorbed by the skin, blood, bones and flesh, but also undergo transformation. Because of this, the red candle demon king did not wake up, but the powerful medicinal power all over his body also made fire lotus unable to stop. Obviously, it also discovered that there was no full moon in the sky directly above. Being spiritual does not mean that you are as intelligent as ordinary people. With its current intelligence, it still couldn't figure out why. It's just that driven by instinct, it will only look for possible dangers at this time. If there is no danger, then he will fully lean his body and absorb the spiritual essence in the air. By then, it will be fully formed. It would be nice if we could collect it in advance. Zuyun took out the jade box that he had prepared long ago. This extraordinary elixir must be placed in the jade box immediately after picking it, otherwise it is very likely to escape. And when he was ready, the fire lotus gradually sprouted 9 lotus petals in the fire veins, and began to greedily absorb the scattered medicinal power. Zuyun saw the opportunity, took advantage of it, and suddenly teleported away. He held the opened jade box in his left hand, and thrust his right hand into the fire veins, grabbing the root of the fire lotus. Huolian was frightened and quickly put away the 9 lotus petals, trying to break away. Zuyun suddenly felt that fire lotus's strength had become stronger, and he immediately activated the power of chaos. Unexpectedly, a sudden change occurred. The fire lotus suddenly turned into a ball of fire and went straight into Zuyun's belly. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzhuan Xianxia. Chapter 1023. Zuyun was shocked. He was also someone who had collected many magical medicines. Where had he ever encountered such a situation? Feeling the heat coming from his lower abdomen, he quickly returned to the pass of the fire mountains and immersed himself in watching. He originally thought that the fire lotus was taken away by Fen Tianyan, but he found that Fen Tianyan had not changed at all. Where are you going? I only feel the heat, not the fire lotus. Zuyun searched everything in his body, but still found nothing. Finally, he focused all his attention on his chaos lotus, and then he discovered that the chaos lotus had undergone some changes. And that heat was slowly released by the chaos lotus. Swallowed by the chaos lotus. Suddenly, Zuyun looked strange. Without this enthusiasm, he would not have been able to detect the changes in chaos lotus. The change is very subtle, except that there is a faint red light flowing in the original gray-green lotus pod. It's strange, can chaos lotus still produce changes like this? Zuyun already knew that the changes in his practice of the 5 elements of Chaos Sutra were entirely due to his subsequent refining of the void chaos power. The 5 elements of Chaos Sutra actually has little effect on his subsequent cultivation guidance. More, it is just the skills brought by each breakthrough to a realm. But since Chaos Fist appeared different, Zuyun has become more cautious. Because Ye Yuan said that although you can fly 100% by practicing the 5 elements of Chaos Sutra, after arriving in the immortal world, you will die without life. As for why, Ye Yuan didn't know. He said Ye Yang never told him. Regarding more things about the 5 elements sect, Ye Yang did not tell Ye Yuan, but said that it involved a lot of things, fearing that Ye Yuan would also be deeply involved, which would lead to unexpected disasters. The Chaos Lotus is something that has never been mentioned in the 5 elements of Chaos Sutra. Zuyun can only guess and understand everything about this change. Fortunately, the breakthrough in realm has no big impact and is no different from ordinary people. But the problem is that the Chaos Lotus will swallow the elixir, which is something he has never experienced before. Could it be because this Fire Lotus is also a lotus? After observing the Chaos Lotus for a long time, Zuyun couldn't see the reason. He just withdrew his mind and thought to himself. It doesn't swallow other elixirs, but it swallows the Fire Lotus. This is the only reason that can be explained. According to Huang Longshu, the Chaos Lotus is a lotus born in the chaos of the immortal world. The ancestor of Wanlian? Zuyun shook his head and found that he was still holding the jade box in his hand, so he closed the lid and threw it into the ring. At this time, the Red Candle Demon King also finished refining the medicinal power and woke up leisurely. Blessings to fellow Taoist, has the time not come yet? Finding himself in a large formation, the Red Candle Demon King did not panic. Instead, he raised his head and looked at the sky. The full moon was still barely in the sky. Well, the time has not come yet, but it's time for me to leave. Zuyun stood up and withdrew the formation with a smile. Even he felt the changes in the Red Candle Demon King. He must also be able to personally feel the power of his golden marrow pill. Why, don't you want this Fire Lotus? The Red Candle Demon King was surprised for a moment. He lowered his head and looked at Huomei, then at Zuyun. Perhaps giving each of the 3 of them a pill was not a big price for Zuyun. But the time is coming, and the Fire Lotus can be taken away when it is born. Is it possible that we can't wait for such a short time? No, I don't need the Fire Lotus anymore. Zuyun chuckled. It was naturally impossible for him to say that the Fire Lotus had been absorbed by his Chaos Lotus, and even let the Red Candle Demon King leave here. Otherwise, when the full moon rose into the sky and no Fire Lotus was born, the Red Candle would be attracted for no reason. The suspicion of the Candle Demon King. It is not beneficial to his desire to make friends. You don't need it anymore, don't you want it? The Red Candle Demon King was shocked. Each stage of the Fire Lotus takes 1,000 years, and it will take at least 10,000 years to fully mature. And because of the special nature of the Fire Lotus, its growth environment is extremely harsh, so it is extremely rare to encounter it. It may not be of much use to ordinary monks. But for those in the southern mortal realm, all those who practice fire spells or magic arts will be of great benefit. What, do you want it? Zuyun asked playfully. No, no. The Red Candle Demon King felt nervous for no reason. He could not live without fire all his life. It was true that the Fire Lotus had a great effect on him, but the biggest effect was the icing on the cake. But the golden marrow pill that Zuyun gave him was a timely help. The way of fire, even if he doesn't use any spiritual objects, as long as he has enough time, he can cultivate to the extreme. But the physical strength is extremely difficult. This is the biggest weakness of the Red Candle Beast before it reaches the Demon Saint realm. The toughness of the physical body is related to whether they can withstand the demon tribulation and become a Demon Saint. Therefore, instead of asking for this Fire Lotus, it is better to follow Zuyun and take him to Liwo realm, Liwo city, and Tianhuo secret realm. That's good, Zuyun smiled slightly, casually took out another golden marrow pill and threw it over, saying, Friend Edeo, Zhu has been practicing hard and is not familiar with the Liwo realm. This golden marrow pill, how about the marrow pill as your reward for being a guide? Thank you, thank you. The Red Candle Demon King accepted it excitedly, secretly thinking that he had indeed made the right bet. He was not interested in Zuyun's explanation. Only this elixir is real. Then take me to the Liwo realm. Zuyun just wanted to get there as soon as possible, so he said calmly. It's easy to say. The Red Candle Demon King turned back to his human form and said, Liwo realm is about 10,000 miles away from here, which is just right. Qi can also tell fellow deist Zhu about the situation of Liwo realm and Liwo city. That's right. One demon and one man began to fly in the air, walking side by side. The situation of the Red Candle Demon King leaving the Fire Realm will be explained bit by bit. Liwo realm is named after Liwo city. Liwo city is named after Liwo sect. Liwo sect is named after Liwo immortal lord. When he heard this, Zuyun couldn't help but exclaimed, Liwo immortal. An immortal from the immortal realm. In the mortal world, mortals call monks immortal masters. He was wondering, is it the monks in the southern mortal realm who call the powerful monks in the spiritual world immortal lord? Yes, and no. The Red Candle Beast scratched his head and said, it is rumored that Liwo sect was founded by a monk named Liwo. Liwo is different from other sects that rely on fire veins. Instead, they chose to be in today's world. Establish a sect in Liwo city and recruit disciples as long as you have the fire spirit root. It is precisely because of this that the Liwo sect has grown in power due to the large number of people. Originally, the actual sect did not pay attention to the newly built Liwo sect at all, just because Liwo sect did not rely on the fire vein, and secondly, the disciples it accepted had 3 spiritual roots and 4 spiritual roots, and other sects did not want it. But as the Liwo sect grew in power, all the school-age children nearby chose to come to the Liwo sect to test their spiritual roots. As a result, some single and double spiritual root seedlings were snatched away. Hearing this, Zuyun admired immortal Liwo very much. He also went from mortal to immortal. Zhang Tianyuan took his 3 brothers on foot and in a carriage, and it took him a day to reach Lingjian sect. If you were eliminated and looked for other sects, would you still go? Mortals think simply, and other sects are far away. What if it is just an ordinary spiritual root? It would be better to choose Liwo sect nearby. As long as you have spiritual roots, you can practice, which saves you so much trouble. It is conceivable that immortal Liwo grasps the hearts of mortals just right. As time passed, Liwo sect's talented monks became more powerful, and Liwo immortal lord built Liwo city because of this, and the place gradually became lively. In another 100 years, those sects will be surprised to find that the disciples from the Liwo sect who come out to practice are all very powerful, at least they are all disciples in the late stage of construction and above. Now, something is wrong. Because of the 3 spiritual roots and the 4th spiritual roots, even if you start practicing after you are born, you won't be able to reach such a state within 100 years. So, the rest of the sects in the southern mortal realm gathered together and decided to investigate the realm. The 6 transcendent forces besieged the Liwo sect. It is precisely because of this that the secret realm of heavenly fire is known to the world. Hearing this, Zuyun couldn't help but ask, did immortal Liwo know about the secret realm of heavenly fire for a long time, so he founded the sect there? He remembered that the Red Candle Demon King said that the Liwo sect did not rely on the fire vein. This is unusual. Exactly, the Red Candle Demon King said with admiration in his eyes. Liwo immortal lord told everyone that his disciples, as long as they have fire spirit roots, can enter the secret realm of heavenly fire to practice and find opportunities. It's just that a person can only go further in his lifetime, so he is willing to make the secret realm public. As long as he can enter the secret realm and does not kill innocent people indiscriminately, anyone can enter. The Red Candle Demon King couldn't help but glance at Zuyun. It was for this reason that he was surprised that Zuyun had not heard of the heavenly fire secret realm. How could it be possible that he had never entered the peak of the late nascent soul? That's why he got the name Liwo Immortal Lord. Zuyun also asked with admiration. But he never thought that the Red Candle Demon King shook his head and said the same thing, yes, and no. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 1024. Zuyun frowned slightly. From what the Scarlet Candle Demon King said before, if it is true, it can be seen that Liwo Immortal Lord's actions are indeed a righteous act for the southern mortal realm. But even so, it was not the origin of his title of Immortal Lord. This made him couldn't help but wonder, could it be that he had done something more meaningful to the southern mortal realm? Please tell me in detail. Zuyun frowned, and there was no point in making random guesses. He nodded to the Red Candle Demon King and motioned for him to continue. Best wishes to fellow Taoist, said the Red Candle Demon King. Liwo Immortal Lord's greatest contribution to the southern mortal realm is actually related to the heavenly fire secret realm. The most important one is the heavenly fire secret realm, which is rich in spiritual fire. He made no secret of this. This made all the monks admire him greatly. Hearing this, Zuyun couldn't help being shocked. In the eastern mortal realm, some monks asked for a spiritual fire but could not get it. And because the special attributes of spiritual fires can become stronger by devouring each other, monks who possess spiritual fires will participate in plundering again for no reason in order to make their spiritual fires stronger. In this case, what Immortal Liwo did was tantamount to giving other monks a chance to obtain spiritual fire. You know, with spiritual fire, monks can refine elixirs, refine weapons, and do more things. In the East Mortal Realm, the Fire Dragon sect even possesses mysterious techniques such as the spiritual fire symbiosis technique. The stronger the spiritual fire, the longer the lifespan. It stands to reason that if he takes the heavenly fire secret realm for his own use, not to mention practicing anything else, he will be able to endure endless amounts of the spiritual fire in it. Even if it is more generous and is left to the people within the sect to enjoy, I think the Liwo sect can be like the Liu Yun sect in the Bifan realm and can become a dominant family. But unfortunately, his actions and decisions are equivalent to treating the spiritual fire of the heavenly fire secret realm as a welfare for every monk in the southern mortal realm. Righteousness. If this is the case, it is well deserved to be named Immortal Lord by all the monks in the world. While Zuyun was filled with admiration, he also had some doubts in his heart. Could it be another conspiracy? After all, he had seen too many similar things. No one will be nice to you for no reason. Whether in the original Eastern Mortal Realm or the Northern Mortal Realm, everything exists as a source of benefit. When monks practice, they seem to be competing for heavenly opportunities, but in fact they are competing with other monks for opportunities. The opportunity given by heaven, if you take it away, it means that I have lost it. This is the source of killings and intrigues in the world of immortality. Blessings to fellow Taoist. At this time, the Red Candle Demon King spoke again, interrupting Zuyun's thoughts. Seeing Zuyun looking at him, he said, Liwo City requires fire spiritual roots or mastering special fire spells to enter it. Zuyun frowned, and while he was thinking about the meaning behind this rule, the Red Candle Demon King misunderstood the meaning of his expression and said, Chi knows a kind of fire spell, which can be learned without the fire spirit root. Why don't you wish your fellow Taoist to learn it? As long as you can perform it at the city gate, the city guard will naturally let you in. Fire spell. Zuyun looked at the Red Candle Demon King and couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. Of course he has fire spirit roots. Fire spells, too. Yes, fire spells. We are afraid that unqualified people will break into the heavenly fire secret realm without any reason. In other words, Liwo City is the holy land for all fire spells and fire root monks. Then just say it. Zuyun disagreed in his heart, but the Red Candle Demon King did have good intentions. It was true that he had interests, but at least in this relationship, the Red Candle Demon King did hope that he could enter the secret realm of heavenly fire. This method is called the Liwo curse. The Red Candle Demon King made a shocking statement. Zuyun never thought that the Red Candle Demon King was talking about this spell. The Liwo curse was the first time he left Lingjian sect, and he got it from two robbers he met on the way. Later, when I arrived in Chuzhu, I met the Liwo sect and wondered if the two robbers were from Chuzhu. But after getting to know Li Mo, he learned that the Li Fire curse was a mysterious technique that could only be learned by their direct disciples. He didn't take it seriously at the time, and Zuyun didn't take it to heart. At this time, when I heard the Red Candle Demon King talking about it, I couldn't help but feel doubtful. Could it be that the two robbers came from the southern mortal realm? But this is too incredible. Shaking his head, Zuyun shook the thought out of his mind, cheered up, and signaled the Red Candle Demon King to tell him the method of cultivation. After taking a stick of incense, Zuyun was sure that what he said was exactly the same as what he had learned. There is no difference at all. After pondering for a while, Zuyun said, "Friend Chi-Dao, can everyone learn this Liwo spell in this mortal world?" When the Red Candle Demon King said that he wanted to teach him his magic, Zuyun had already confirmed that the other party suspected that he was not from the southern mortal realm. However, without debunking it, some problems have actually been avoided. The two of them just had a tacit understanding. "Of course you can learn it," the Red Candle Demon King said with a smile. Originally, only monks with fire spirit roots were eligible to enter the heavenly fire secret realm. But later, Liwo Immortal Lord went to the spirit world, and many years later, he came from the spirit world again. After returning, a new rule was established. As long as you practice fire magic, you can also choose to enter the heavenly fire secret realm. In fact, the name of Immortal Master has been spread since then. Zuyun understood. Because monks without fire spiritual roots can also obtain spiritual fire. Spiritual fire is a spiritual body that can exist independently in a monk's body to warm it up. It is not limited to monks with fire spirit roots. This is equivalent to giving all monks in the southern mortal realm a chance to obtain spiritual fire. But Zuyun is focused on another point. The title of Immortal Lord was obtained after returning from the spirit world. Does that mean what happened to Immortal Lord Liwo in the spirit world? His experience with several people returning to the spiritual world told him that monks in the spiritual world are generally unlikely to return to the mortal world. Accept what helps you. For example, Yao Fuzong went to the East Mortal Realm for the Demon Refining Tower. For example, he came to the Southern Mortal Realm to save Fenshin. And Ye Yuan. He didn't dare to go down to the Bay Mortal Realm because he was afraid that many Yuanying monks from the Bay Mortal Realm would see him and surround him and kill him. Is this Liwo Immortal Lord's return to the Southern Mortal Realm related to the Liwo curse? In Zuyun's mind, he couldn't help but think of the two robbers from Dongfan Realm and Chuzhu Liwo sect. The four worlds are connected. It seems that when I return to the East Mortal Realm, I can ask Li Mo if he has left any ancestral teachings. In addition, when you return to the spirit world, ask Ye Yuan if he has heard of Immortal Liwo and how much he knows about him. It seems like a good thing that future generations can praise, but I always feel like something is wrong. Zuyun secretly made a decision in his heart. When he saw the Red Candle Demon King looking at him expectantly, he smiled slightly and stretched out his palm to control the Liwo curse. However, he also restrained himself, and it was just the most basic Liwo pillar. A bright light flashed in the eyes of the Red Candle Demon King, and he praised, Zhu Dao's friendly skills were actually put to use after he only listened to the Liwo curse once. Zuyun was non-committal and chuckled, "Friend Edao, Zhu didn't say he didn't have fire spirit roots. His original intention was that with the fire spirit root, learning this fire spell would naturally lead to twice the result with half the effort." Unexpectedly, The Red Candle Demon King shook his head and said, "Friend Zhu, the Luo curse can actually be learned by humans." Zuyun raised his eyebrows and remembered the purpose of the Red Candle Demon King passing him the Luo curse. Thinking about it, he thought he was like this because he didn't have fire spiritual roots. However, Zuyun did not want to get into too much entanglement on this issue, but said, "What about you demon cultivators?" "We are demon cultivators," the Red Candle Demon King said meaningfully, and then he stretched out his palm, and a pillar of fire appeared exactly like Zuyun, except that it was driven by demon power. "We want to enter Luo City and learn Luo technique." Zuyun couldn't help being shocked. Even though there is only one word difference between these two exercises, the actual application is completely different. Demon power is also divided into attributes, but it requires one more layer of transformation. After the demon power is formed, it is stored in the demon elixir. And to display it again, it uses the demonic power to affect the corresponding attributes in the air, and then displays various attribute magic spells. Just like when the Red Candle Beast transformed into its true form, its body was covered in flames. The appearance of this kind of flame is the flow of demonic power in the body, causing the fire spiritual power in the air to attach to the body. The Red Candle Beast itself has a weak demonic body, which needs to be compensated by flames, and because the demonic power of this flame is even greater, it is regarded as demonic fire. So generally speaking, Red Candle Beasts mostly hide in the underground fire veins, not only for training, but also for their own safety. Zuyun thought deeply for a moment and asked, "Then you demon cultivators, can you enter Luo City after immortal Luo returns from the spirit world?" "Exactly," the Red Candle Demon King looked in the direction of Luo City, with a look of memory in his eyes. "I was also fortunate enough to meet immortal Luo, and it was he who personally taught me the Luo technique. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills." Author, Banzhuan Xianxia. Chapter 1025. Have you actually seen immortal Luo? Zuyun was shocked, and then he realized something and asked quickly, "How many years?" "It seems like today is exactly 3,000 years ago." The words of the Red Candle Demon King made Zuyun ask in shock, "You have been in the realm of the Demon King for at least 3,000 years, right?" According to his understanding, only those in the Demon King realm can transform into human form. Otherwise, how can a monk who has returned from the spirit world teach the secrets? But after 3,000 years, why didn't he go to the spiritual world? Even if it's like in the Baymortal realm, it's based on quota, it's time for the turn to come, right? More than 3,000 years ago. A flash of confusion flashed in the eyes of the Red Candle Demon King, and he said, "Bless you fellow Taoist, Qi will go to the spiritual world passage every 100 years, and there will be no exception, whether it is the Luo realm or the South China Sea realm, it is also a barbaric realm, and will be blocked by passages. 3,000 years, 3,000 years. Zuyun took a deep breath and then said, "That's why you want to obtain the Fire Lotus and try to use the Fire Lotus to gain a new entrance and then pass through the spiritual world." "Exactly," the Red Candle Demon King said with a bitter smile, "Kai's strength has not improved even 1,300 years ago. After our Red Candle Beast reaches the Demon King realm, our lifespan will be around 5,000 years. But Qi has spent 3,000 years in the mortal world. He has tried almost all methods, so even though he knows that the elixir is not very effective, he can only try it with the thought of treating a dead horse as a living horse." Zuyun asked in a deep voice, "Except for that, has anyone ever successfully passed through the spiritual world passage and successfully gone to the spiritual world?" The Red Candle Demon King was startled, his face suddenly changed, and he said in shock, "No, I have never heard of it." At this time, Zuyun was completely sure that immortal Luo was definitely not a good person. But now, he also has a problem. That is, Can he pass through the spiritual world passage and leave the southern mortal realm? Zuyun was deep in thought, but the Red Candle Demon King continued, several nascent soul ancestors of my generation all exhausted their lifespan and died sitting down. Several of them were Kai's good friends. The three people who dealt with Qi in the fire veins before can only be regarded as Kai's juniors. But these juniors have all cultivated to the same level as Qi. The Red Candle Demon King could no longer speak. Originally, there was still a glimmer of hope in his heart. But at this time, that glimmer of hope seemed to have been wiped out by Zuyun. How not to feel lost? The result of thousands of years of hard training is the same as the human monks, waiting for death. Zuyun let out a long sigh. He had not experienced this layout personally, so he could not make rash judgments. What he is more worried about now is whether he can pass through the spiritual world. With these thoughts together, Zuyun decided not to go to Luo City first, but to go to the spiritual world passage to take a look. Friend Chi Deo, Zuyun shouted in a low voice, and after the Red Candle Demon King came to his senses, he said, I wonder where the nearest spiritual world passage from here is. According to the Red Candle Demon King, he is now in the South China Sea. There is also a spiritual world passage in the South China Sea. About 1,000 miles away, I wish you fellow Taoists are also going to try the spiritual world passage. The Red Candle Demon King was slightly startled, but something moved in his heart. Because he has been traveling alone for 3,000 years, he can be said to be a fan of the authorities. If I could watch Zuyun walk around, maybe bystanders would be able to spot the problem. Immediately, he didn't care about the reward of golden marrow pills for taking Zuyun to the heavenly fire secret realm, and immediately said, fellow Taoist Zhu, please come with me. It's just that Qi has an unkind request. Zuyun smiled slightly and said, you have also thought about the spiritual world passage, right? This is natural, the Red Candle Demon King said without shying away from the excitement at this time. As a mortal, saving a life is better than building a 7-level pagoda. I wish fellow Taoist if you can lure Qi to the spirit world, Qi will I wish to become the beloved beast of my Taoist friends in the spiritual world, riding before and after the horse. Zuyun laughed and said, friend Edeo is really happy, but Zhu just went to investigate this time and doesn't know how to get to the spirit world. This seemed to be a rejection, but it was not a rejection. The Shizu Demon King was shocked, and then he gritted his teeth and said, if you don't dislike it, I wish you, this mortal world Qi will definitely follow. In the past 3,000 years, Shizu has conquered the entire mortal world. I've traveled all over the place. I hope Qi can lead the way wherever you want to go. Zuyun nodded and said with a smile, that's not bad. One demon and one person, they rushed towards the spirit world passage in the South China Sea without stopping. Along the way, Zuyun asked some more things about immortal Luo, but apart from what the Red Candle Demon King said before, there were very few things about immortal Luo. This made Zuyun more and more certain that the monks in the southern mortal world could not go to the spiritual world. I am afraid it was really his fault. It didn't take much time for the two of them to travel more than 1,000 miles. When it was about to dawn, they had already arrived at their destination. A volcano. He actually wanted to go down from the crater. Looking at the piece of magma, Zuyun looked strange and asked, if you jump down, does it count as entering the spiritual world? Exactly, the Red Candle Demon King said, it's just that every time Qi goes down, he will be bounced back up. It stands to reason that this kind of volcano is our favorite place of the Red Candle Beast. But unfortunately, Qi has nothing to do. Zuyun thought for a moment and said, friend Edeo, try it first and let Zhu have a look. Easy to say. The Red Candle Demon King already regarded Zuyun as his last hope to go to the spirit world, and had no objection to Zuyun's request. Immediately, he transformed into his true form and jumped into it with one leap. Just as the Red Candle Demon King was about to drill into the magma, a flash of fire suddenly appeared. The fire was like a light curtain, completely laid on the surface of the magma, and actually pushed the Red Candle Demon King up directly. The Red Candle Demon King did not suffer any damage and returned to the crater just like that. Fellow Daoist Zhu, it's always like this. Zhu Yun pondered for a moment, and then said, you step back a few steps. Okay. The Red Candle Demon King quickly cheered up, thinking that Zhu Yun wanted to try it himself. Unexpectedly, Zhu Yun just stretched out his hand and waved, and a familiar flame aura appeared. Another Red Candle Beast. The same Demon King realm. The Red Candle Demon King couldn't help but open his mouth, and heard Zhu Yun say easily, Xiao Huo, this is a spiritual world passage, you go down and try it. When Xiao Huo was summoned, he was also at a loss, not knowing what was going on. I thought Zhu Yun had encountered something, but I didn't expect him to drill the spiritual world passage. He did not pay attention to the Red Candle Demon King beside him, but nodded and jumped down without hesitation. Zhu Yun quickly used the Divine Eye technique to see how and where the flame curtain appeared. But what he did not expect was that Xiaohuo was not aroused, but directly sank into the magma. Now, Zhu Yun was dumbfounded. Some flames on the surface of the magma showed that Xiaohuo had completely entered the spiritual world channel. Even the Red Candle Demon King was completely stunned. Or rather, he could not accept it at all. The same Red Candle Beast, the same Demon King realm. Why can others do it, but he can't? Could it be? The Red Candle Demon King was only thinking about passing through the spiritual world channel at this time. He quickly turned back into human form and ran to Zhu Yun. Zhu, Master, meet the Master. The only difference is that Xiaohuo is Zhu Yun's beast pet, but he is not. Anyway, if I can go to the spirit world, I will be Zhu Yun's pet. So, it's not a bad idea to call him Master before going to the mortal world. Zhu Yun was in a daze, and suddenly heard the Red Candle Demon King calling him Master. He couldn't help but smile and turned back, Friend Chi Dao, I don't know why, and you don't have to recognize me as your master. The Red Candle Demon King has already determined this fact, shaking his head and saying firmly, Master, it must be like this, you accept me as your pet, and print the soul seal on my demon soul, I will definitely be able to go to the spirit world. Zhu Yun was speechless, he couldn't explain. In fact, except for Xiao He, the others who recognized him as their master, whether it was the three dogs and other spirit beasts, or Xiao Huo, were not truly recognized as their master. Like Zhao Kamang, it's not a big deal to say that he can leave at any time. To enter the world of the universe, you just need to regard Zhu Yun as your master in your heart. There is no need for ordinary beast control methods such as soul seals. Because the world of the universe is a fairy weapon space, the level is naturally beyond magic. But the Red Candle Demon King was sure of this, and when he saw Zhu Yun did not explain the reason, he was even more certain of his thoughts. Master, please, I have released the demon soul, you can leave any mark. Zhu Yun sighed, thinking that his Divine Eyes technique was still in use, and then he remembered the purpose of letting Xiaohuo jump down, so he said, well, try it again and show me. Whether it works or not, I will accept you, how about it? Hearing this, the Red Candle Demon King was overjoyed, and once again transformed into his true form, and jumped into the crater like crazy. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 1026. Zhu Yun didn't dare to blink, for fear that his Divine Eye technique would miss the key and waste a lot of time. And this time, as he wished, he finally discovered how the fire appeared. The power of the Divine Eye technique allows him to easily see through all magma and earthly fire. The moment the Red Candle Demon King leaps down from the mouth of the valley, a complex light will quickly appear at the bottom of the magma. Zuyun was very familiar with this light. Formation pattern. The power of these formations will stir up the spiritual power in the magma and cause certain changes. When it reaches the surface of the magma, it will form a sheet of fire, rising layer by layer, and finally push the person who jumped back to the crater. The small fire did not trigger the formation pattern, but the red candle demon king did. The key to this is most likely the Liwo technique. Zuyun already had a guess in his mind, and after the red candle demon king was bounced back, he looked at Zuyun with bright eyes, hoping to get the answer. "Friend Chideo, you watch from the side, I'll go down and take a look." Zuyun's heart condensed, and he also jumped down. Shen Jingju once again found that the formation patterns underneath were bright. This time, Zuyun's gaze really pointed at the bottom, and he really saw where the formation eye was. These formations were slightly different from what he had learned. But it never changes from its original origin. The activation of the formation is like a pack of gunpowder, which requires a fuse before it can be ignited. The formation he set up can be done with your hands, using your soul, or other methods. In the self-destruction formations in the early years, Zuyun used the spirit guiding formation to connect all the self-destruction formations into one. The 5 elements formation that I have recently practiced is through the Yuan Shen. The function of the spirit guiding array is similar to a mechanism. If the person setting up the array is not present, the array can be run as long as someone touches it. Formation techniques can make complex changes to the formation, thus creating unexpected effects. Inducing the spirit will make the formation change faster, but usually it can only be a simple change. It's like the 9 revolutions and 9 suns formation. It is simple, made of only 9 spiritual stones, and Zuyun can freely transform into 9 kinds of changes. However, the changes made by the 81 spirit stones are more complicated. Except for those ordinary changes, the rest need to cooperate with the formation techniques. And this spiritual world passage is actually a formation, but what activates the formation is most likely the fire lifting technique or the fire lifting curse. Liwo belongs to the fire attribute, but has a unique flame atmosphere. Even if Zuyun uses the power of chaos to control the Liwo spell, he still needs to turn the pure fire power into Liwo again. He had never seen anything wrong with this before. Because he only knows this fire spell. Now, it's scary to think about it. Not surprisingly, Zuyun was also bounced back to the crater. The feeling when I use the power of chaos to turn into fire to refine elixirs is completely different from using the Liwo curse. In this way, I have practiced the Liwo curse, and the aura of Liwo in my body is what makes this formation. The fuse was naturally inspired. Zuyun removed the divine eye technique and looked thoughtful. But using only 1 person and 2 demons as a reference is not credible enough. After he pondered, he said to the red candle demon king, "Where is the next nearest spiritual world passage?" The red candle demon king was stunned for a moment, and then he knew that Zuyun could not pass through it, and he felt mixed in his heart. Fortunately, Zuyun did not pass safely, so naturally, I could follow him and continue to look for a solution. The worry is, what if he can't pass through all the passages? Master, the nearest passage is in Liwo City. However, that passage is always guarded by monks from Liwo section. Generally, we will not go to that passage. Zuyun raised his eyebrows and said, "Then let's go to the wilderness." Good. The red candle demon king made up his mind to follow Zuyun, and the two continued to set off. At the same time, the red candle demon king spared no effort to introduce the situation of the savage realm to Zuyun. At the same time, in an earth vein in the outer sky of the spiritual world, a monk who was in the tribulation period suddenly opened his eyes. I saw that his pupils were in the shape of strange flames. It's strange, how come someone comes from the southern mortal world to the spiritual world? Is it a fish that slipped through the net, or did it break the Liwo formation I set up? That's all, it's come, Let him go. The ascension platform was destroyed, Tianweishan fell, and the 5 elements scattered. People died. There were also a bunch of old guys who ascended, but Ye Yuan stayed. In such troubled times, I still continue cultivate until the heavens can no longer tolerate me, and take the initiative to send down tribulations to drive me away. I'm just afraid. As soon as I leave the outer world, the catastrophe will come. By then, I won't be able to ascend with the body of Luo. If I go to the fairy world, I will probably be enslaved by others. With my special physique, I don't even have to think about it. He will be dragged to blow the furnace and forge fairy iron for the immortals. Everything is not ready yet, so be careful. Along the way, Zuyun would inevitably be a little worried about Xiao Huo. But when he thought about it, Xiao Huo might not necessarily be in danger if the spiritual world suffered a big change, and he felt a lot of relief in his heart. He is also in the Demon King realm. As long as he is in the mortal world, he will basically not encounter any danger. Just let him experience it on his own. If we are destined, we will meet again. Look at Zhao Kamang. After leaving, his strength has greatly increased, which is far more beneficial than staying in his universe world. But, if I had known earlier, I would have given him some golden marrow pills first. At the moment, he still had business to do, so Zuyun also put his thoughts away and learned about the situation in the wild realm from the Red Candle Demon King. In fact, Master, there are mostly mortals in the wilderness realm, and there are very few cultivators. Generally speaking, no one will go to the spiritual world passage there. When it comes to the most critical moment, the Red Candle Demon King's words remind Zuyun of the Luo sect in Chuzhu again. If it is the main passage, all living beings can enter it. And the most important thing is the main passage of a realm, which can go to all directions. The spiritual world and the other 3 mortal realms. Will it be? The passage in the wilderness realm is the main passage? He couldn't get confirmation from the Red Candle Demon King on this point, because only by entering it can he tell. But he must go. Who would have thought that the Luo curse he learned at the beginning would become the reason that might trap him in the southern mortal realm for eternity? Of course, Zuyun didn't think he couldn't break the formation restrictions. No matter how strong the Luo is, it belongs to fire. He still has a backup. It is Fenchen. As long as he enters the heavenly fire secret realm and lets Fenchen recover, it is not impossible to burn the formation to ashes. Therefore, Zuyun has always been in a relatively relaxed state of mind. His only worry is that if he breaks the formation, will the immortal Lord Luo notice it? If the other party ascends to become an immortal, is it possible for him to come down? If he does not ascend to become an immortal, will he run into him when he goes to the spirit world? He has already made an enemy of a Mahayana stage, and if he makes an enemy of another big man who can return to the mortal world 3,000 years ago, I don't know if Ye Yuan can handle it. In the mortal world, you can do whatever you want, but in the spirit world, Zuyun can only be a man with his tail between his legs. There is no way, due to the limitation of strength. It's too difficult for me. In Zuyun's Psi, it took them half a month to reach the spirit world passage in the wilderness. And this passage is in the extreme north of the wilderness. This is it. Unlike the passage in the South Sea, this passage is actually a lake, which looks very much like the Holy Lake in the eastern mortal world. However, the lake water is like a hot spring, and it is always emitting steam. The lake was shrouded in mist, and one could not even see too far. Zuyun's mind moved, and he used the breaking void spirit eye technique. But he could only see a little further, and could not see the other side of the lake clearly. However, he also understood a little, why the Red Candle Demon King said that ordinary cultivators would not come here. First, this place is very far away from the fire realm, and it is nearly 100,000 miles away. Secondly, the spiritual energy here is relatively thin, and it is far inferior to Yunzhou where Zuyun used to live. In such a place, even ordinary spiritual medicines are extremely difficult to grow, and resources are scarce. Ordinary cultivators will naturally not come here. No wonder it has become a gathering place for mortals. Along the way, Zuyun saw many large-scale cities, but the cities were all mortals. When they passed over the city, countless mortals would kneel on the ground, extremely respectful. It made Zuyun laugh and feel sad. If they want to cultivate immortals, they may have to encounter a great opportunity. Otherwise, it would take them a lifetime to leave the fire realm. But the most important thing is one of them. That is, water overcomes fire. The cultivators in the southern ordinary realm now either have fire spiritual roots or practice fire magic. If they go from the lake to the spiritual realm passage, they will naturally reject it instinctively. Zuyun turned around and asked the Red Candle Demon King beside him, "Will we also encounter the situation of the South Sea realm passage here?" The Red Candle Demon King shook his head and said, "It's different. When we enter the lake, countless water spiritual forces surge in the lake. I don't know about other people's situation. Anyway, I almost drowned several times." Hearing this, Zuyun's eyes shrank immediately. A dignified demon king actually said that there is a possibility of drowning. So, there is also a formation in this lake. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzhuan Xianxia. Chapter 1027. You stay here, I'll go down and take a look. Looking at the lingering fear on the face of the Red Candle Demon King, Zuyun decided to go down on his own initiative. However, this would consume a lot of his chaos power. However, this was an indispensable part of whether he could return to the spiritual world safely. It would be used up. At most he would find an opportunity to return to the immortal mansion and then practice again. But then again, the chaos power in the void of the immortal mansion seemed to be endless. Zuyun concentrated his mind and multitasked. First, he purified the chaos power to his eyes, and then transformed the chaos power in the 9 veins into water spirit power. Water escape technique. After a low shout in his heart, Zuyun immediately dived into the lake. The water was warm, as if he was taking a hot spring bath. Zuyun had no time to feel it, but quickly escaped to the bottom of the water. The water escape technique was one of the most used escape techniques. As long as Zuyun had the water spirit power, he was like a part of the water. But when he entered the lake, he felt something was wrong, but he couldn't tell where it was. Through the divine clear art, Zuyun could see a wide range, but he still couldn't see the bottom of the lake. As he went deeper into the lake, the temperature of the lake water became higher, and he could even feel the hot currents surging back and forth. Is it so deep? After more than 10 breaths, Zuyun frowned secretly. According to his speed, it would take at least several dozen feet to use the water escape art. No wonder the Red Candle Demon King was terrified when talking about water. After diving for a long time, Zuyun had consumed the chaos power of a lotus heart, but everything around him was the same. Zuyun simply withdrew the divine eye art and used the less consuming Paku Lingjing art, intending to use it after finding the abnormality. But who would have thought that after using the Paku Lingjing art, a different change would occur? Wherever the divine eye art goes, it is just like an ordinary lake, except that the temperature is a little higher. There is no difference. And using the breaking void spirit eye technique, this lake gave him the feeling of a holy lake in the eastern mortal realm. Suddenly, Zuyun had a flash of inspiration in his mind, and remembered what the Lin family ancestor had told him. Back then, as the master of Purgatory Mountain and the head of the Lin family, he had already made arrangements in Huangmingxing, and his descendants were in all the 4 mortal realms. Moreover, in order not to go to the spirit world, he left behind the ancestral teachings for them to guard the main passage to the spirit world. Could it be that this passage is the main passage? According to the Red Candle Demon King, Luo realm is the center of the southern mortal realm, and Luo city is the center of Luo realm. In the city, in addition to the Skyfire secret realm, Luo sect also controls an entrance to the spirit world passage. So Zuyun has always had a preconceived idea and regarded the passage of Luo sect as the main passage. If this is the main passage, the Lin family must be nearby, but they have never seen it. Could it be that the Lin family here has also been killed? Thinking of this possibility, Zuyun couldn't help but smile bitterly in his heart. The descendants of the Lin family are really unfortunate. If the Lin family ancestor knew about this, I wonder what he would think. But I think that the immortal body of the Lin family ancestor, even if he is not a giant, is a famous person. I am afraid he will not care about the descendants he left in the mortal world. The key is that the reproduction and growth of these descendants is what he came here for a purpose. No matter, since the breaking void spirit eye technique is useful, why don't I look at the whole lake first? Maybe I will find something, and then I will have a way out. Zuyun is naturally very careful because the Luo realm is related to at least the powerful people in the spiritual world. Especially the name of Luo Immortal Venerable was given by all the cultivators in this mortal world. If he can send an order to kill himself, I am afraid that it will be extremely dangerous at that time. Zuyun curled his lips and focused all his attention on the lake. In this way, Zuyun was in the lake for a full hour. The Red Candle Demon King on the shore couldn't wait any longer. He couldn't help but wonder if Zuyun had entered from the entrance of the spiritual world passage. It's impossible. Isn't he going to the heavenly fire secret realm to find the 9 fire veins? Even if he wants to leave, he will definitely come back, but he hasn't come out after an hour. Could he have been drowned? When this thought came to the mind, the Red Candle Demon King felt a little unbelievable, but then he thought about it and realized that he had almost drowned here several times, so it was not surprising. But Zuyun was his last straw. After thinking for a long time, the Red Candle Demon King gritted his teeth, turned into a human form, and plunged in. In human form, his demon fire would be suppressed, which was relatively safer. In order to find Zuyun, he risked his life. At this time, in the spiritual world, under the heaven and earth, the immortal Luo opened his eyes again. Why, someone touched the formation in the southern Fan realm again. Could it be that something unexpected happened in the southern Fan realm? No, someone has already passed through the passage in the South Sea realm. If someone in the wilderness realm can also pass through, who knows if the passage in the fire realm will change. If all 3 passages are opened, I'm afraid my great cause of thousands of years will be ruined. No, I must go out and take a look. The fire immortal venerable looked solemn, and reluctantly took out a pill from his arms, and then swallowed it into his mouth. In an instant, the flame aura on his body was completely gathered into his body. After years of hard training, the flame on his body was extremely strong. If he didn't restrain it, he would leave the heavenly world, and without the barrier of the mysterious Kunlun Mountains, I'm afraid the heavenly calamity would come immediately. He was not ready to go to the immortal realm. After the medicine was refined, Immortal Luo recited a mantra silently, and the next moment, he appeared on a mountaintop in Tianweishan. Going back to the southern mortal realm will require a lot of Luo power, accumulated over the years. Sighing, he ran towards the depths of the sky. He wanted to go in the opposite direction and return to the south mortal realm from the exit. The cost is huge. However, not long after leaving, a breath suddenly came from the distance. It looks like spiritual power but not spiritual power, it looks like demonic power but not demonic power. The demon spirit power, that boy Yao Fuzang? We haven't seen him for a long time, but the strength of his soul has become a lot stronger. It is rumored that he went to the East Mortal Realm. Why is he back and he is still in the Mahayana stage? Immortal Luo's heart moved and he fled in the direction of Yao Fuzang. Within a moment, he saw the extremely embarrassed Yao Fuzang, and was suddenly surprised. Yao Fuzang, have you achieved great success in evil? Immortal Luo suddenly appeared and called him by name again, almost frightening Yao Fuzong to the ground. Very few people in the outer world know about evil deeds. It turns out to be Senior Li. Yao Fuzong quickly looked around, and when he saw it was Luo Immortal Lord, he quickly bowed. Why is there still only the Mahayana stage? It took about the same time for you and me to acquire those mysterious evil skills. I have already passed through the tribulation stage. Why do you? Senior Li, Yao Fuzong immediately smiled bitterly and said, Senior finally managed to escape and almost lost his life. Why, even though the realm is suppressed by the mortal world, it is not so embarrassing. Aren't you refining the immortal weapon in the East Mortal realm? Back then, I used Luo to burn the prototype for you. Even if the realm is suppressed, you can't do it? The immortal treasure's original form is sufficient in the mortal world. Senior Li, this junior went to the East Mortal realm, but almost died in the Northern Mortal realm. He also just came back from the Northern Mortal realm. Immortal Luo frowned and said in a deep voice, Aren't you seriously ill? Yuan has already said that no one from the spiritual world is allowed to go to the Northern Mortal world. If there is any violation, even if he ascends, he will pursue him. Go to the fairy world. Yao Fuzong sighed and said, Senior Li, this junior went to the East Mortal realm and hid in the totem pole of the demon clan in the East Mortal realm. But who would have thought that he would be in the Northern Mortal realm as soon as he appeared? Junior, now I still don't understand why. Immortal Luo frowned. The evil skills they practiced actually turned them into evil immortals after they ascended. Therefore, he will hide his aura as much as possible while accumulating his own strength. When the catastrophe is approaching, he uses all his strength to break through the catastrophe and soar to the sky, leaving the heavens unable to react. Luo Immortal Lord was deployed in the southern mortal realm, but Yao Fuzong was trying to use the demon refining tower and supplement it with his power of 10,000 demons. The journey to immortality is bumpy, and the journey to evil immortality is even more so. Therefore, even if Luo Immortal Lord is much stronger than Yao Fuzong, he will not bully others because of his level. Instead, he will be more likely to stay together and help each other. Then you are going to the East Mortal realm now. Exactly, Yao Fuzong gritted his teeth and said, I want to take back the demon refining tower, and then guard the passage to the spirit world. I will wait for that boy Zuyun to come over, put him into the tower, and trap him for the rest of his life. Zuyun. Luo Immortal Lord secretly wrote down the name, and then said, It just so happens that I am going to the southern mortal realm. Why don't you tell me what happened in detail? If you can meet him in the spiritual world in the future, Li will tell him my body is burned and only a remnant of my soul is left to be tortured by you. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 1028. Then thank you very much, Senior Li. Yao Fuzong was overjoyed, and then said, By the way, Senior Li, when you go to the southern mortal realm, have you mastered the evil power of Luo? It's not done yet. Luo Immortal Lord shook his head and said expressionlessly, Something unexpected happened, so I went over to take a look. Is there an accident too? Zuyun's face with a contemptuous smile suddenly appeared in Yao Fuzong's mind. Well, I was afraid that the 1,000 years of hard work would be ruined, so I had to spend some spiritual energy to go back and have a look. Li Huoxianzun looked into the distance. Deep in the sky, there was one of the passages. Unlike the passage from the mortal world, you can go to any mortal world by going in the opposite direction. The key is to find the right location. People like them can be found, it's just a price. Didn't you say that you have restricted all access to the southern mortal realm? And all the descendants of the Lin family have been killed by you, so no one can find a way to go to the spiritual world. Yao Fuzong was very puzzled. However, there was a strange movement in the Luo array I set up, and not long ago, I sensed someone passing through the passage and coming to the spirit world. I thought it was an accident. After all, if you don't practice Liwo, it's not possible. It will be affected by the restriction, and it is inevitable that some fish will slip through the net. But who would have thought that something strange happened in the passage 100,000 miles away, so I can only go and take a look. Immortal Liwo sighed, and as he spoke, he had an ominous premonition. Could it be that Zuyun? But then he thought, Zuyun was not in the northern mortal realm, and the southern mortal realm he went to should have nothing to do with it, so he felt a little more relaxed. When he went through the tribulation period, he was no different from Yao Fuzong in the mortal world. Even if Yao Fuzong had the demon refining tower in hand, he could easily suppress him. The two of them remained silent like this, and soon arrived at the entrance of the passage from the mortal world to the spiritual world. Senior Li, you are more urgent, so should you go first? Yao Fuzong said to Liwo Immortal Lord, going in the opposite direction is actually against the law of heaven. If two people enter at the same time, they may fail. Then I will go first, and you will reach the stage of transcending the tribulation as soon as possible. Who knows, we can ascend at the same time, meet in the fairy world, and take care of each other. Liwo Immortal Lord was indeed a little anxious. He left a word to Yao Fuzong and then started to cast the spell. In the air, there was a pure fire spiritual power. As the fire spiritual power became stronger, it tore apart the space. In the time it took for a stick of incense, a crack appeared out of thin air. After the crack, there was endless void, and Liwo Immortal Lord gave a low shout and got into it in a flash. Without the support of the fire spirit power, the cracks disappeared instantly, and the normal scene returned to before our eyes. Not far away, in a valley. There is such pure fire spiritual power in the outer world? Could it be that there is a fire vein born? A figure covered in red suddenly appeared from a cave, but before he could make any move, he couldn't sense it. I'm hiding, could it be the spiritual fire? Although I have reached the realm of the Demon King, the outer world is really dangerous, and I can't find the fire veins to practice, it's better to fight. If I swallow the spiritual fire and refine it, maybe to be as powerful as Lao Zhao. This person is none other than Xiao Huo, who unexpectedly returned from the southern mortal realm. He was also extremely surprised when he found out that he had arrived in Tianweishan. The spiritual pressure of Tianweishan has no effect on him as a monster. But the key point is that if the red candle beast wants to practice, it must be in the fire vein. But this person is unfamiliar with this place and is in the lowest level of the Demon King realm. How can he dare to move? The passage in the South China Sea realm is not the main passage in the South Mortal realm. The exit is here, so after he appeared, he immediately found a place to hide. Just now, he felt the pure fire spiritual power of Liwo Immortal Lord. In order to avoid being noticed by Heavenly Dao, Liwo Immortal Lord did not use Liwo to tear open the cracks in space, so Xiaohuo misunderstood. Thinking that he could improve his strength, Xiaohuo quietly touched it. And just when we climbed to the top of a mountain, we happened to see Yao Fuzong. He had never met Yao Fuzong, but he heard Yao Fuzong mention a few familiar words. When I return to the East Mortal Realm and take back the Demon Refining Tower, I will go to guard it in the Wild Sea. No matter how powerful you are at Zuyun, I will also swear to put you in the tower and let you be tortured by the demon power in the tower for the rest of your life. Hearing this, Xiao Huo was shocked. You can't beat him. Going up there is nothing but death. But if you go to the East Mortal Realm. I am from the East Mortal Realm. The most important thing is that when I go to the East Mortal Realm, I can make friends. At the same time, the Demon Refining Tower also changed its location. In Dongsheng Realm, not only was there a sect to guard it, but I also had time to find helpers. Want to deal with the master? He, you can't think of it, right? Xiaohuo immediately decided to follow Yao Fuzong back to the Dongfan realm. Although the spiritual world is good, cultivation is extremely slow. On the other hand, if he is allowed to wander around in the eastern mortal realm, the worst he can do is reach the Demon King realm after cultivating to the extreme and return to the spirit realm. When the small fire came, Yao Fuzong was already concentrating on tearing apart the space channel. His power of 10,000 demons would not arouse the alertness of heaven, but due to the lack of realm, it took less than half an hour, and at the same time, he did not notice the arrival of the small fire. But even if he found out, he didn't take it seriously. He was in the Mahayana stage, and he was only in the Demon King realm. How dare he come up? But how did he know that this was Xiaohuo, the red candle beast who had followed Zuyun for many years? She even made up her mind to follow him back to the mortal world. As the cracks in space grew larger and larger, Xiaohuo's eyes became sharper and sharper. Although he didn't know how to move, in his early years in the world of Dazhu, he had a lot of fun with Sangu and the others, and he had developed flexible reactions. After seeing that the crack could accommodate one person, Xiaohuo became very energetic and carefully felt the demonic power in the air. Suddenly, the demon power suddenly stagnated, and Xiaohuo knew that the opportunity had come. It's almost time to go. Yao Fuzong was exhausted, but fortunately he could finally go to Dongfan realm again. But as soon as he withdrew his demonic power and dived into the crack, he suddenly noticed a burst of fire coming from behind him. Xiaohuo also followed into the reverse passage at this time. A moment later, one person and one demon appeared in Dongsheng realm. You dare to follow me to the eastern mortal realm even though you are in the Demon King realm, but are you seeking death? Yao Fuzong immediately locked his energy on Xiaohuo. It just so happens that he has lost a lot of demon power. There is a Demon King here who can dig up his demon elixir and use it for himself. The reason why he didn't take action immediately was also because of the loss of 10,000 demon powers. He needed to count the breaths and adjust his breath before taking action. But how did he know that Xiaohuo was pursuing him with the purpose of killing Yao Fuzong? He didn't respond at all. He slapped Yao Fuzong with his backhand. In the East Mortal Realm, one person and one demon are almost at the same level, but Xiaohuo is even better because of his demon power. By taking the initiative, he has the upper hand. Court death. Yao Fuzong was furious, but he did not dare to take the palm forcefully. But as soon as he dodged the palm full of demonic power, he saw that Xiaohuo had already returned to his true form. Red Candle Beast. Yao Fuzong felt disdain in his heart. The Red Candle Beast was not a mysterious beast at all. It might be rare in the mortal world. That was because most of them practiced hiding in the fire veins. But in the spiritual world, there are quite a few. He practiced the 10,000 demons art and killed many Red Candle Beasts in the spiritual world to obtain their demon pills. So, great experience. But how did he know that at least half of Xiaohuo's fire power came from the purest spiritual power in the universe, which was very different from ordinary earth vein fire? Immediately, his power of 10,000 demons was used in the wrong direction. Instead of suppressing Xiaohuo, Xiaohuo found an opportunity. Die. Xiaohuo showed his bestiality. Not only was his body covered in flames, he swept towards Yao Fuzong. He also used his mouth and claws to attack him fiercely. Yao Fuzong didn't react in time, and his body was pierced by sharp claws, and blood gushed out like a fountain. Damn it, you, the Demon King, can actually destroy my body. Yao Fuzong was shocked and angry, and his realm was limited, but he was still in the Mahayana stage. How could he be injured by the Demon King? Ever since he emerged from the totem pole, nothing he had encountered was normal. Now he can't even deal with the Red Candle Beast? Yao Fuzong suddenly wanted to leave. He didn't dare to stay here. He quickly used teleportation and fled towards the distance. His soul was naturally stronger than Xiaohuo's demon soul, but within a moment, he disappeared without a trace. Damn it, let him run away. Xiaohuo cursed, which was a mantra he learned from Sangu. But that's okay. He definitely won't dare to stay in Dongsheng realm to get the demon pill. I can also take the opportunity to go to the 7-star sect and remind them that the owner of the demon refining tower is coming, so be sure to keep an eye on him. Xiaohuo calmed down for a moment and then ran towards the ancestral land of the Rat clan. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 1029. South Mortal Realm, the main passage is in the lake. The Red Candle Demon King couldn't find Zuyun, and his heart suddenly lost. He felt that the demon power in his body was losing rapidly, and he immediately returned to the shore. While he was panting, a column of water suddenly rushed towards him, startling him. But when the water column dispersed, he saw Zuyun. He couldn't help but be overjoyed and said, "Master, you are finally back. I have been looking for you in this lake for half a day, but I haven't seen you yet. You came down to look for me." Zuyun couldn't help but be stunned. After he used the Kigzuling Eye technique to see the formation in the lake, he immediately sank to the bottom of the lake, concentrating on trying to break the formation. Due to the Liwo curse, he could not enter the passage on the South China Sea realm, and he had to use the Divine Eye technique to see the formation pattern, which made Zuyun unable to crack it. After finally being able to sit down at the bottom of the lake, he would naturally take this opportunity to break open, leaving himself a way out. However, this formation was relatively complicated. After Zuyun memorized all the formation patterns, he entered the Immortal Mansion to find a way to solve it. The difference in time flow speed in the Immortal Mansion can give Zuyun more time. Maybe that's why the Red Candle Demon King couldn't find him. I hid in one of the corners, trying to crack the formation. Zuyun said something perfunctory. It was impossible to say that he hid in the fairy mansion, right? Did the master gain something? Although Zuyun has not put a soul mark on his demon soul, the Red Candle Demon King has already regarded Zuyun as his master. No matter how Zuyun persuades him, the Red Candle Demon King seems to have recognized the matter. In the end, Zuyun I also had no choice but to give up. When the time comes to go to the spirit world, we can go our separate ways. Even if it is not, Zuyun said sternly. I have not completely broken through this formation, but I also know its function. This water is full of spiritual power, and for ordinary monks, it is no different from the liquid of creation. But for monks with fire power, or you demon cultivators, it is no less poisonous than water, which can weaken the spiritual power of those who enter the lake, making it difficult to break through the formation and enter the spirit. In the Boundary Channel. While recording the formation patterns, Zuyun had already discovered the entrance to the passage. But it is true that because of the fire spirit root in his body, he cannot forcefully enter it, otherwise the water power here will affect him to some extent and cause an accident. Furthermore, Zuyun has not yet allowed Fenshin to recover and has not done anything, so how could he possibly return to the spirit world? Then let's go to Liwo City next. The Red Candle Demon King is also shrewd. He can tell at a glance that Zuyun cannot break through it for the time being, so there is no need to stay here. Well, let's go to Liwo City first. You have to accompany me to the mysterious land of heavenly fire. Each cultivator, including demon cultivators, can enter the formation once. The Red Candle Demon King has never gone in, but he still has another chance. Obligated. The Red Candle Demon King immediately agreed. In Liwo sect, a huge aura suddenly appeared in a light gate, which immediately alarmed countless nascent soul ancestors of Liwo sect. They all came straight from their respective caves here. There are even some old people who are about to die and are about to die. Immortal, Immortal Lord. When they gathered at the entrance of the passage and saw the person coming, they all knelt down and worshipped. These people have never seen immortal Liwo with their own eyes, but they are peeing and practicing while looking at the portrait of immortal Liwo. I'm back to see all the juniors, how about you? Immortal Liwo smiled and seemed to have no dignity at all. Okay, okay, a haggard old man said excitedly, the reputation of the immortal lord has spread throughout the mortal world, and I, the Liwo sect, are naturally highly respected by all the monks. This time the immortal lord comes, God bless me in the mortal world. I am Liwo sect. They have been practicing all their lives and have no idea why they cannot enter the spiritual world passage. The founder of the sect, the figure from thousands of years ago, has come back again. Maybe he can solve the problems they face. A person in the nascent soul stage can usually live for more than 1,000 years. But when immortal Liwo came back, 3,000 years had passed. Already, several generations of nascent souls have died of old age and death. Now that they saw it with their own eyes, how could they not be excited? That's good, Liwo Immortal Lord smiled, every living being who enters the heavenly fire secret realm will gain something, right? This junior doesn't know. I want this sect leader to clear up the Immortal Lord's doubts. The old man turned his head and looked at a middle-aged man. Of course, he only looks middle-aged, and his real longevity is only about 1,000 years. I have seen the Immortal Lord. Seeing that the Liwo Immortal Lord was also looking at him, the middle-aged man immediately lowered his head and said respectfully, Liwo City is now a place of pilgrimage for all living beings in the entire mortal world. And they come therefore, a trip to the heavenly fire secret realm is inevitable. The heavenly fire secret realm is no longer a secret realm, it is a place for cultivation that all monks must go to. Therefore, even if they do not bring out the spiritual fire, they will gain a lot and gain great strength. Rise. That's good. The heavenly fire immortal lord nodded happily and said, what major events have happened in this mortal world recently? Big deal. The middle-aged man pondered for a moment, and then said, the biggest thing recently is that the masters of the Demon Flame sect and the Scarlet Flame sect suddenly had a conflict, and then they fought. Moreover, they each summoned their sect disciples. He said he wanted to fight to the death, but so far, he hasn't really started yet. Hearing this, the heavenly fire immortal lord suddenly turned cold and said in a deep voice, as a monk, if you don't practice well, you will do such a ruthless thing. Let the two sect masters and their elders come to see me. I would like to ask carefully, why did you cause trouble for no reason and break the peace of this mortal world? Yes, immortal lord. Disciples will spread the news immediately. The middle-aged man quickly accepted the order, then exited the place and returned to his sect master's hall. Somebody come. He shouted to the outside of the hall, and immediately a Danja stager rushed in. Metropolitan. Well, the middle-aged man waved his hand lightly, and then took out two talismans. On the front of the talisman is the rune pattern. But on the reverse side, there is a big word Li written on it. Hand these two talismans into the hands of the two sect masters of the Demon Flame sect and the Scarlet Flame sect. Yes, sect master. The Danja period took the talisman and quickly retreated. At the entrance of the passage, Liwo Immortal Lord always had a faint smile on his face, answering the confusion in cultivation for these nascent soul stage. The more questions they asked, the more obscure they became, and the happier Immortal Liwo became. In this regard, more than 10 days later, Zuyun and the Red Candle Demon King also arrived at Liwo City. Set fire before you can enter the city. At the door, two city guards from the Liwo sect, ignoring their realm, stretched out their hands to stop the two of them, and pointed at a stone next to them. Fire Spirit Stone. With Zuyun's eyes, he naturally recognized the stone. The Fire Spirit Stone is not an ordinary spirit stone, but it does not have many functions. It is mainly used to detect the fire spirit root. Scarlet Candle Demon King was afraid that Zuyun would not cause trouble, so he stepped forward first and put his hand on it. Then with a soft drink, a ray of fire poured into the fire spirit stone from his palm. I saw that the fire spirit stone immediately lit up and was completely red, as if it had been burned into magma. Li Huoshu, 5th floor, senior, please come in. The two city guards immediately said respectfully. However, the Red Candle Demon King did not leave directly, but looked at Zuyun, meaning to wait for him to enter together. Zuyun followed suit and put his hand on it, then thought about it. Liwo spell, 9th, Nineth level. The guard who had shouted earlier was dumbfounded and could not even speak clearly. Zuyun was also stunned. Looking at his reaction, it was obvious that he had scared someone. The Red Candle Demon King's attainments are very low, and he is only at the 5th level. But I am on the 9th level. But obviously, I didn't use my strength. How did this fire spirit stone sense the level of the fire lifting curse that I had practiced? Master, I wish fellow Taoist, I didn't expect to enter the country again. It was so hard to hide it from Qi. The Red Candle Demon King hurriedly stepped forward, pretending to blame him, but put his hand on Zuyun's shoulder familiarly, and pulled Zuyun into the city gate. Lao Qi, on the way here, Zuyun and the Red Candle Demon King became more familiar with each other, and their conversations became more intimate. I didn't even try hard, why are you at the 9th level? Zuyun vaguely felt that this matter was inappropriate. The Red Candle Demon King also said helplessly, there are only two possibilities. One is to practice the Liwo curse to perfection, and the other is to practice the Liwo curse with extremely strong talent. Generally, on the 9th floor, it will only appear, on the elders of the fire sect. Zuyun smiled bitterly and said, then I was discovered on the 9th floor, what's wrong with that? It's not inappropriate, it's just that the Liwo sect may know the news and may send someone to look for you and persuade you to join the Liwo sect. It seemed good, but Zuyun was unwilling, so he said, then let's go to the Skyfire secret realm quickly. According to my guess, this entrance to the spiritual world passage may be inseparable from the Liwo sect. He originally wanted to say Immortal Liwo, but when he entered the city, he saw a huge statue that was dozens of feet high. One can imagine how deeply Immortal Liwo was deeply rooted in people's hearts. What if the Red Candle Demon King is also one of them? At the same time, the two city guards also reacted. Quick, report to the sect master quickly, the fire spirit stone shows the 9th level again. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 1030. Is this the heavenly fire secret realm? Looking at the large array that was unguarded, Zuyun was very unconvinced. Shouldn't a secret realm look like a secret realm? Not only is there no one guarding it, but the gate of the array is wide open, as if anyone can come in. The Red Candle Demon King couldn't help but smile bitterly and said, Master, doesn't this mean that anyone can enter the heavenly fire secret realm? Then there is naturally no need for guards. Moreover, a person can only enter once in his life. Once he has entered, he can never enter again. Therefore, whoever wants to enter is up to him to decide, and no one will interfere. Zuyun's heart moved, and he said, then what is needed to enter the secret realm? If not, how can the secret realm distinguish whether someone has been there before or not? That's right, the Red Candle Demon King pointed to a stone outside the formation gate and said, after transferring 10% of your soul power into it and leaving a soul mark, you can enter it. The soul mark is the secret realm's way of distinguishing whether there are people who enter for the second time or not. If there is a soul mark of a corresponding person in the soul stone, then that person cannot enter, and the door to the secret realm will not open for him. I see. Zuyun's eyes flashed with a gleam of light, he felt that things would not be so simple. Soul mark. It seems to be just a mark, but if it is a strong person, it can do many things through the soul mark. At the least, find the location of the person. At the worst, directly control others as slaves or puppets. For example, the pills of the puppet controlling demon sect leave marks on the soul of the person, and as long as they move, they can be turned into puppets. It's not that simple, it's better to be careful. Zuyun was not in a hurry to enter, but was thinking about countermeasures. His Yuan Shen was extremely powerful. If he input 10% of his soul power into it, he was afraid that something unexpected would happen. Master, someone is coming too. Why don't you let them go first? At this time, the Red Candle Demon King reminded in a low voice. They blocked the gate of the formation, which indeed affected the people who followed. Let them go first. Zuyun made way and decided to wait and see. He thought this soul stone was not simple. The two looked at Zuyun and the Red Candle Demon King in surprise, and after finding that the two people's strength and realm were far beyond theirs, they quickly retracted their gaze. They quickened their pace and walked to the side of the soul stone. One of them first put his palm on the soul stone. Zuyun's heart moved, and he quietly used his Yuan Shen to perceive, and immediately found that the soul power of this cultivator was rapidly decreasing. After losing 10%, a beam of light suddenly came from the gate of the formation and shone on the cultivator. Brother, I'll wait for you in the secret realm. As soon as the voice fell, the light beam flashed, and the cultivator quickly disappeared, thinking that he had entered the secret realm. Another cultivator also did the same, putting his hand on the soul stone and also transferred soul power. Looking at the realm of the two, Zuyun couldn't help but frown. They are only in the Jindan stage, can they control soul power? In his cognition, the Jindan stage has not reached this level, and soul power is mostly used for casting spells. It really didn't work before, but then Luo Xianzun came and rearranged this formation and modified the rules for entering, and it worked. Zuyun immediately asked, then before, what was needed was Luo's spiritual power. Yes. Zuyun pondered for a moment and asked again, then is it feasible to use Luo power now? It should be possible, but the previous requirement was to transfer all the Luo spiritual power. Even if it is feasible now, I think no one wants to be powerless when entering the secret realm. In contrast, Zuyun is unwilling to use soul power, which will leave too many hidden dangers. After thinking about it, he said to the Red Candle Demon King, I don't plan to use soul power, what about you? The Red Candle Demon King was also smart, and said, Master, are you afraid of being used by others? Yes, Zuyun nodded, and said, soul power involves too much, I would rather use my spiritual power than soul power. Then use the fire power. The Red Candle Demon King took the initiative to step forward and put his hand on the soul stone. He was a demon king who had practiced for thousands of years, and his whole body was naturally full of power. It would take a long time to transfer all the power into it. Meanwhile, many cultivators who wanted to enter the heavenly fire secret realm came and lined up behind Zuyun, looking at the scene with shocked faces. In the air, huge demonic energy permeated, which made them extremely frightened, but also very surprised. The Demon King had never been to the heavenly fire secret realm, which was really confusing. But when he looked at Zuyun, he found that he couldn't see through it, and he felt even more strange. However, they should still wait and say nothing. It was extremely quiet here. But in the Luo sect not far away, the sect master received the news from the city guard. 9th level of Luo curse. He frowned and said, except for our Luo sect, no one has ever cultivated Luo curse to this level. Sect master, I will never make a mistake based on the quality of the fire spirit stone. This sect master knows. The sect master thought for a while and said, you go out first. After the city guard left, the sect master turned his head and looked at the screen behind him, saying, Xianzun, you have cultivated Luo curse to the 9th level. I wonder if you can accept it into our Luo sect. That's right, Xianzun Luo didn't want to show off too much, so he hid behind the screen. When he heard the sect master asking him, he said calmly, "With such talent, it's naturally good. Send someone to find him to come to the sect to see me." "Yes, Xianxia." The sect master responded, and then walked outside the hall and said, "Have you memorized the man's appearance?" "I have," the city guard had already prepared, and took out a portrait from his arms, which was exactly the appearance of Zuyun. "Yes, go back and watch the city gate." The sect master patted his shoulder to show encouragement, and then took the portrait into the hall and displayed it. All the elders looked over. "It's really strange, not from our Liwo section," the oldest elder said in a deep voice. "He is the person who has lived the longest in the Liwo sect now, and it can be said that he has seen countless cultivators. Even he has never seen him, which is enough to show that Zuyun is from other sects, or a casual cultivator. Could it be that he has a single fire spirit root? You know, we have cultivated to the 9th level, and at least reached the nascent soul stage. It seems that the person may also be in the nascent soul stage. With such a talent, it stands to reason that when he is discovered, he will come to our Liwo section. Maybe it is a mortal in the savage realm who has an adventure. There are many opinions." Until, another Jindan deacon suddenly reported outside the hall. "Report to the sect master, there was an accident at the Liwo formation, and now countless cultivators are gathering there." Hearing this, everyone's face turned cold. The Liwo formation is the formation outside the heavenly fire secret realm. Everyone who wants to enter the heavenly fire secret realm must pass through the Liwo formation. To open the formation gate, either input Liwo power or input soul power. To be honest, this is the facade of their Liwo section. Although no one is guarding it, it is absolutely not allowed to happen. This is set up by the Immortal Venerable. If something goes wrong, it will be a slap in the face of their Liwo sect. What's more, the Immortal Lord was behind the screen at this time. "Did you see clearly what happened?" The sect master waved his hand, the door of the hall opened, and the deacon fell in. He hurriedly got up and said, "Meet the sect master, meet the elders." Seeing so many nascent souls present, the deacon was scared, thinking that something big would happen in Liwo City, and said tremblingly, "It seems that a cultivator in the Demon King realm is going to enter the heavenly fire secret realm." However, he did not choose to transfer soul power to the soul stone, but used Liwo power. Use Liwo power. All the nascent souls were stunned. If it was before, it would be fine. But 3,000 years ago, since the Immortal Lord returned to the mortal world and changed the rules, using Liwo power has become a thankless task. Although there are rules, innocent people cannot be killed indiscriminately or fighting in the secret realm. But sometimes, conflicts are inevitable. For example, if they encounter earth fire. The fight between the two was actually tacitly agreed by the Liwo sect. After all, the casualties were not great. Nowadays, anyone can enter the heavenly fire secret realm. If you use up all your spiritual power and go in, and then meet your enemy, that would be very bad. What's even more amazing is that it was actually a demon king. This time, even the Liwo Immortal Venerable behind the screen was a little surprised. "I'll go take a look first, and you guys come too." As soon as the voice fell, the Liwo Immortal Venerable flashed and fled over there. Not long after, the Red Candle Demon King felt a familiar breath. He turned his head subconsciously and couldn't help but screamed. "Immortal Venerable! Meet the Liwo Immortal Venerable!" In shock, he suddenly stopped the transfer of Liwo power, and his body was immediately backfired by the demon power. He stopped, and was also seriously injured. But he seemed to be unaware of it. Instead he knelt on the ground and bowed to the Liwo Immortal Venerable floating in the air.